Hello, today we're going to be going over your coach with you today. We're going to be starting right up front here with our tongue jack. Basically our one switch here is to turn the light on and off if you had to hook up at night. The other one is so you can raise and lower the front end so you can get on and off the tow vehicle, but this is also how you level the camper from front to back. I do like to say while you're hooked to the tow vehicle, make sure you're level from side to side first, just in case you had to set blocks on. Use the tow vehicle to roll onto those blocks for the side to side levelness. Once you have done that, then you unhook from the tow vehicle and level front to back using this guy. And then you're going to lower your stabilizer jacks. They're located on each corner of the camper. You would use a 3/4 socket. They do provide the manual crank for this as well. The socket makes it a lot easier on a drill. Next, we're going to have our propane tank here. It does come with a bungee to help keep it supported or secured. It does also have this little nut here on the back with a wing nut, or a bolt with a wing nut. It'll go through this hole so you can secure it as well. You have one 20-pound tank. Basically, these guys are filled minus what's used to test the propane system. Back behind here is where our battery is going to be located. It's just a standard 24 series battery. As you see, you do got some bigger cables on there. That's going to be for your solar. And basically, those are designed to where it will charge the battery when the battery disconnect is turned off. Our battery disconnect is actually going to be located right here. So basically, when you're storing the camper, you just turn this guy, it disconnects the battery, so nothing drains the battery if something was left on. Especially the fridge. The fridge is a 12-volt fridge. When it's trying to do the full draw to keep cool, the solar panels cannot keep up with that. Please be mindful of that. All right, as we come around the side here, inside here you're going to have your cap. This cap here is going to be for your fresh water drain. Pretty much you twist this guy on and then you would fill that. We're going to come back to that in just a sec. You got your 30 amp power cable, comes with the coach. This manual crank is going to be for the tongue jack, so if something happened to the motor and the tongue jack, you can still operate it. And then we also have our 3/4 located there in the back as well. You do also have an inverter, and I'll show you some of the other things on the other side once we get to the other side. This is considered to be a key to light camper. So basically your one silver looking key here is your Bauer key here. This guy operates all the locks on the door. You do have a secondary lock here. This guy is basically, I believe, for the safe on the inside, and then this is for the kayak racks, is what these guys are for. So with the fresh water, basically it's gravity fed, so you just stick the hose in and let it fill. Read the monitor panel inside for when it reads full. Overfilling it and waiting for water to shoot out of here over time can cause damage to both the outside of the unit and the inside where it's connected to this port. Down below is going to be our city water hookup. With the city water hookup, it is always recommended you want to have a pressure regulator on the spigot first. From there, your options of an inline water filter, and then you're going to have your blue or white water drinking hose. From there, you would plug into here. You would be ready to use the cold side. The hot side you could not use until the water heater has been filled. I'll show you that here just momentarily. It's on the other side. This here is going to be what they consider to be a Schwintek style slide. The one important thing you must know with these is you never lubricate them. If the gears here start looking all dingy and dirty, the recommendation is simple soap and water to kind of scrub them out and rinse them off. These guys work on two independent motors that communicate through a control panel. If you start lubing them, if you lubricate the gears, then things don't start right. Then it starts messing up with the readings. Another thing is the motors are located on top, so the top will always seem like it's a lot tighter to the unit than the bottom. Okay? Mainly the manufacturers look for a 50% compression of the steel once the slide runs all the way in at the bottom. Next, down below here is going to be where our sewer outlet's located. Pretty much you would hook your sewer hose to here. And then you're going to have your gray valve and your black valve. As you see, those guys were both opened. I went ahead and closed those. It is always recommended that you always start with black first. You'll pull that valve to start dumping. While you're dumping, you're going to hook up a hose here to the black tank flush. It's a sprayer inside the black tank, sprays around, gets the nastiness out. I like to say keep it simple. Go to Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, go out and buy yourself a black hose. Black tank, black hose. It keeps it simple, keeps it separated. I do also like to recommend using a pressure regulator when you do this as well, because there's a hose on the back side of this that goes to a plastic check valve. Too strong a water pressure can damage that valve. Once you see water coming out clear, then that's when you know it's been pretty much good and cleaned. You can shut off the water, unhook your hose, and then close your valve. Then you would open the gray to drain that one. Down below here also is where your cable and satellite hookup is located. Here's where you would hook up your 30 amp power cord. We got our ladder to the roof. This is meant for inspections only. It's not to go up there and have parties, anything like that. You just want to go up and inspect the ceiling on the roof to see, make sure no air bubbles have kind of occurred, formed or popped. Over time, the sealant will also get dried out and start cracking. When that happens, you're just going to clean that sealant and you can lay down that new lap sealant. You can do that about 2 or 3 times before it is usually recommended to peel off all that sealant and put down fresh. After so many layers, it's not going to start doing its job. We do have our spare tire located here in the back. We're going to talk about our tires here in just a moment. We've got our backup camera on there as well. Our monitor is located inside the coach. For the backup camera, the running lights or headlights have to be on the tow vehicle for the camera to have power. It is tied into the power of the taillights of the coach. So if the taillights ain't in on this, there's no power to that camera. We'll come back and talk about our steps here in just a moment. We do provide you a 110 outlet. You got an outside spray port. As you see here, it's labeled low point drains. There's a red and blue line underneath here. Oh, let's see, they got it here. No, they're gonna have it probably behind our tire. Go ahead and show you that here.
Okay.
Go ahead and take that. Basically, you got 2 little valves there. They got it well spray foamed, but there's a red and a blue. Red is hot side, blue is cold. Right now those valves are in the open position because the coach has been blown out and has antifreeze in our P-traps. So those would have to be closed before trying to use water in the coach. All right, next our tires. Lug nuts are tightened to 100 foot-pounds. It is also located on this sticker. It is recommended that you do this at 50, 100, and 200 miles. You want to check those lug nuts, okay? You also do want to keep the max tire pressure at the max setting on this, which I believe these guys were. Looks like 60 psi. Let me confirm that with you guys. Yep, that looks like it says 60 psi on there. You got the nice Goodyear Wranglers. Those are a good tire. I did forget to mention your socket size for your lug nuts is a 19 millimeter or 3/4. Next, you got your furnace intake, outtake. You never want to hang nothing here. You never want to try to keep this blocked. They do recommend that we get mud dauber screens to put over these to keep mud daubers and wasp out of there. Next, we're going to have the water heater. With the water heater, basically this guy here is your anno rod. As you see, it looks a little beat up. Well, what it does is it tracks all the impurities in the water and attacks this rod and not the tank because it is a steel tank. Okay, this guy goes basically in here. It's a 1 1/16 socket to put that in and to take it out. It is always recommended that when you are done camping, you try to get all the water out of the coach. The reason why is so we ain't trying to get stagnant or bad water. Another good thing with the low points, you open up those low points, open up a faucet. On your way home, pulling this thing home, the air is going to blow through those lines and push any excess water out for you. So then you got that stagnant or rotten eggs. This guy is got the option for gas or electric. The gas switch is located on the inside of the coach. The electric is going to be from down here. You have to make sure there's water in this tank before you turn it on, or you will damage the element. Next, you got a lip rail here. This is going to be for your little table that will kick on here and your barbecue grill. As you see, it's got it labeled as the LP Quick Connect is located down below for that. It's basically what's going to be all inside here. So inside here, we got our griddle. We got our nice little table here. I'll go ahead and pull the table out and show you how it kind of sets on there. Makes it a little easier. So it's got that little lip there, so you always kind of come from an upward angle. Make sure it sits and rests on there, and then just sits down like so. Basically, the holder for the grill is the same concept with this. It has 2 arms. It does have 2 arms that extends out and would go into these guys right here. These little notches on each end. You got your water hose for your outside spray port. And this is our LP line that we would connect to for the grill as well. All right, now we're gonna kind of step back here. So one thing important note with these steps, when you go to open or to pull them out or to put them up, the door does have to be in the all the way open position to do so. The reason why is because if the door is at an angle, our guy right here can actually catch the screen door and cause damage. But basically your steps will sit just like so. You got a little lock, keeps it in place. When the door is closed, it keeps it from rocking around. You got these guys here. These are your adjustment for the feet. And the reason for that is because this right here, you do want to make sure this is as flat with the threshold as possible. When you go to bring them down, the reason why is because once again, the door can get damaged. As you can kind of see a little blemish right there on this edge, meaning it wasn't set quite right when someone was trying to open and close the doors. And so there's a nice little prime example of what can happen. Nice thing is it just blemished the steps and it didn't do any harm to our door.
And if it's up too high, the door won't close, right?
That is correct as well. That's the importance to make sure it's flush with the threshold. All right, down here we got a little light switch. Here's just little LED lights inside the coach here. I'll leave that on so we can see that in a minute. You got a USB charging port. And then as we step in, our basically up top, this light switch here should be for our awning lights. Nope. Oh, our awning lights is there. My apologies. Lights. And then you got your porch light, which is one color is going to be orange or white. And then vice versa if you pull it down. The off position is going to be in the center. And then you got your interior lights here. You got your awning to extend and retract, and then to bring your slide room in and out, and we'll do that at the end so you guys can hear those motors operating. I'm gonna try to remember what this guy was. I think he might be our, he is a cap light.
I was gonna say, does it have cap lights?
It's a cap light on the front. I believe it's a orange LED light bar on the very top, I do believe. Which if we wanted to step out, we can step out to take a look at that if you wanted to.
Sure.
Just to like to make sure that we are accurate with our video here, so we ain't misinforming.
Taking a field trip. Yep.
So yep. So
it's the groovy awning lights.
Not super bright. It is a lot brighter.
He's not talking about us. We're super bright. The awning lights are for decoration.
They do give you little key hooks here for our nice nifty keys, and then a bottle opener. All right, as we step in, we got our kitchen sink, our hood range. It's got a light and the fan. Always going to make sure you're using this whenever you go to use the stove. The stove is gas only, but there is no spark igniter, so you have to use a barbecue lighter to light it. Basically, you'll just turn the knob to the light position, take your barbecue lighter, light it. Once it's lit, you're ready to go. They do recommend that you do not use pots and pans that are larger than 10 inches in diameter. I believe, yes. Then you do got storage up above here as well. Most of your paperwork is going to be inside here. Basically with that, most of the manuals for a majority of the appliances in the coach, a lot of them are switching to online manuals only. Basically Forest River's doing the same concept. This is the reason why this sticker is left here. So you can download the manual, you'll put in the information for the camper, and it will basically download a PDF file for that specific camper. Up here also is your box for your the Rhino racks, which is for your kayaks. And then you got your Bluetooth speaker up here as well. Then we do have our remote for the television. Basically with this guy, you would turn this guy on. And I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to backtrack in just a couple seconds here. Basically, though, we have... what's our booster? So you got a TV antenna booster located right here on the side. It's a little harder to see. As you seen, we didn't have no signal before. Now we do. That booster does have to be on for antenna signal to come through. If you're using cable or satellite, you'll turn that booster off for that cable signal to come through. Also, a nice feature about this is that the TV is on a 12-volt hookup, so you can run, so it can be operated off the battery. So if you wasn't plugged into Sure Power, you're still able to watch television. When you get to a new area, obviously you're going to be trying to pick up singular stations in Colorado, Washington, and anything along those lines. Basically, you're going to push menu. I usually just push the arrow key back one time. It'll take you straight to channels. From there, you're able to choose if you're searching for air or cable. Just click it over if you want to scan for cable, and then go down to auto scan. But if we're trying to pick up our local antenna channels, you're on air, go down to auto scan, and then hit this enter button. And it's going to ask if you want to perform that scan. I'm going to hit no, but you guys would hit yes. So as we're backtracking real quick, these were the little ambiance lights that our light switch down here turned on. Then we do got our microwave / convection oven. Basically, the microwave features is going to be just pretty common. Convection oven, the numbers have different temperature settings on those. You just choose what you're trying to use it for, the convection, grill, a roast. These guys do quite a bit of things. The manual, I would honestly refer to the manual for better understanding of the convection microwaves. I do like to say, though, set your time. You go out somewhere, you come back, you see that the time isn't set again anymore. That means there was a power failure there at your campsite. You would want to look into seeing if it was from the campsite itself or if it was from the electric company. Some campsites with those multiple people camping, you can have every now and then you can get a surge, a power surge. That over time can cause damage to your camper if you are not careful. Okay. Next down below is going to be our vacuum area here. Basically, there's a bag inside there. But basically, you sweep everything right here where its foot is. You just lift it up, sucks everything in, drop it down to turn it off. This guy here is going to be our single ducted unit for our furnace. Pretty much your heat just comes from just this location here. There is a little window you can see, so you can see that the pilot is on when it is on and running. Inside here you got storage space. There's that safe that I talked about. Let's see, actually that key actually looks like that is going to be part of your key to light camper. So that other key that's on your key ring is actually going to end up being for your Rhino locks on top. My apologies for the misunderstanding or confusion on that. This here is going to be your box for your camera. You got your monitor that would mount into the vehicle. It does give you plenty of different options, so you can plug it in inside if you wanted to for security purposes. You just got to make sure those lights are on for the camera to have power. But they have the other options inside here where you can plug it into. Where is it at? Basically right here, so you can mount it on your windshield. It's got the plate that it sits in, so that mounts onto that as well. It's got a cup holder option. There's quite a few different options in here, and then same with power source options. Like they give you another block as well, but there's also the USB or the oh, he's got it right here. That guy right there.
Outstanding.
All right, then you got your GFCIs located right over here. This is also where your control panel is for your inverter. Basically, you got your power switch to turn it on and off. You're only going to be basically using that, though, when you're boondock camping. If you are plugged into Sure Power, there's no need for the inverter. The inverter, all it's doing is converting a 12-volt source to a 120, so you're able to use outlets in the coach. I know for sure you should be able to use this guy. With this being the GFCI so close to this guy, I'd like to say all your other outlets are going to be tied into it as well. Then you got storage up above. You got a light switch here. Pretty much turns on little ambiance lights up above as well. You got storage on each side. Your windows, pretty much you just pull this guy and they pop right open. With this style, you do got to kind of slam them a little bit. Sometimes those guys don't like to go into the groove like they're supposed to. Let's see. Then we do got some storage underneath here as well. Nice thing is, if you wanted to, you are able, I'm pretty sure that the table does fit inside here if you wanted to use that as a space. But basically, this guy here, this is where he gets secured during travel. Right here on these straps. With this guy, you basically unhook. I'll try to show you the easier way. But basically, these guys here are just going to slide around. Goes just like that.
Oh, so you just lift it and pull
Correct.
it.
And then this here will lock into place on this side. It's got a little lock.
Ah.
So whenever you're basically done, you can flip it over, just slide that back, and push this forward.
And push it. Ah.
Just like so. And I'm going to go ahead and slide this guy right over here for a moment. Basically with this guy, you remove these little side cushion pieces here. This lifts and folds down for another bed as well. Generally, you can take these cushions here, kind of set them towards that back there, kind of
out of the way.
A little spacing. And as you see, there isn't really no storage or anything like that underneath. And you do still have storage up above. As you see here, this guy is considered to be a fire exit window. So if for some reason you guys were unable to get to the door, all you got to simply do is take these guys, you lift them on both sides, like so. This guy is on a hinge, so the whole window will fling open so you guys are able to get out. I do always recommend try to go feet first, unless you're a good tumbler, and then by all means, tuck and roll. I'll get our table put back here momentarily.
All right.
Basically, right here is going to be our thermostat. With this style thermostat, there's mainly just a whole lot of button pushing. Basically, you'll start in the off position. Then you got fan low and fan high. Then it goes to cool high and cool low. In these two settings, it doesn't matter what you have the thermostat set to. The air conditioner is going to continuously run. Like it just popped on right now. It is 55 degrees in here. And it's only in the 40s outside right now. But as you see, it's set at 60 degrees and it's running right now. After that, there's cool low auto and cool high auto. That's where it would kick on and off to what you have your desired set temp to.
And that's what you recommend, right? Is auto?
Yes, always recommend the auto setting. And then from there, you're able to just adjust the temperatures. And then your last option is going to be your heat. Down below is going to be where our carbon monoxide / LP detector is located. It is always recommended you test this guy every 9 to 14 days. Basically, all you got to do is just push that button right here, and it's going to perform its test. It'll do that style beep. Now it should do a different style beep here. And then it'll have a light that goes back to green. Takes just seconds to perform that test. I do recommend that you always test these guys, okay? You gotta know that they're properly working, okay? Bad things can happen if they're not working. Alright, then inside here in our bathroom area, it's very, very spacious.
Especially with two of us.
Basically, you got your light switch turning on and off. You got your exhaust fan up above. You would open it, and then you can just hit this button to turn it on. It's got 4 different fan speeds. And then you got your off. Here's going to be our little control panel. It shows us our tank statuses, the battery status. But you got your fresh tank, your black tank, and your gray tank. As you see here, it says water heater. This is the gas option to the water heater only. Remember, the electric is on the switch outside. And then the water pump. You're only using the water pump if you are if you're using the fresh water tank. If you're hooked to city water, you do not need the water pump. The next over here is going to be for your tank heaters. what these guys are basically 12-volt heating pads on the bottom of the tanks. Once temperatures get below a certain level, these guys will automatically start heating the tanks on as long as these switches are on. And then here is pretty much your solar charge controller. Basically, it just monitors the battery. So there isn't really anything you have to do with this guy unless you guys swap out the battery for like a lithium or a gelled. Then you would press and hold this bottom button where it says battery type. You press and hold it, and then it'll start flashing. Right now it says AGM. I push it again, it goes to wet battery, which is an acid-based batteries. You got calcium. This is the Life PO4, and then you got your LTO, and then gel. Which the other two settings are basically for lithium settings. Next, we're going to have our toilet. Basically, with the toilet, you lightly press on this pedestal to add water to it, all the way down with flush. Then we got our sink, medicine cabinet, we got some storage underneath. Then we got our shower area here. So with this guy, this has what they call a shower miser. Basically with the shower miser here, so when you're boondock camping, you're trying to preserve water. So what you can actually do is when you turn your hot water on, you turn this level down and it'll start sending water back to the fresh water tank. Nice thing is this is actually colored. It changes colors when it gets hot. So like if I put my hand on here for a minute, it'll actually start to change color. And that's a nice way to tell when the water is hot, because it will actually have this little fainter looking blue. I don't know if you guys can see that in the video, but it'll get this little light faint bluish color to it. That tells us that there's hot water coming through here, and then we could switch it back to the shower side. All right. Next, we got our 12-volt fridge. Basically, inside here, oh, it's on top. Too many campers. My apologies. Basically, you got your power switch here to turn it on and off. Press and hold. It'll come on. From there, you can able to choose your temperature setting. That's for the fridge. This would be for the freezer part. And then this has a nighttime mode. What it does is it isn't pulling as much power. And, at night it's not usually as hot, so it's not pulling as much power. With the nighttime mode, it's just more of like an energy saving mode, basically.
Especially if you're boondocking.
And then down below is going to be your fuse control panel box. And basically everything that runs off the 110 is going to be on the breakers. Anything that runs off the battery is going to be on the fuses. Nice thing is this has what they call an auto detect. So if you upgrade it to a lithium battery, this guy's automatically going to sense that, and it'll know how to properly charge that battery for you.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, I didn't show you guys your fire extinguisher. It is right here. From there, we have made our way around your coach. Hopefully this was knowledgeable enough for you guys, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.